Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Sorry, I'm slightly late. We are live. This is Monday night. We want your views. We want your news on everything to do with yesterday's match. How did you feel it went? 4-1, Leicester won at home. A decent end of season game. First half was a bit drab. Second half, it all came to life, and it all came to life over that very, very strange Leicester City goal. As ever, we want your views, we want your comments. Join us for the next 30 minutes live to talk about yesterday's 4-1 win against Southampton.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. We are live tonight, so get your views in, get your comments in, and whatever it is you want to say, we can go through and we can talk about it tonight, all to do with yesterday's show. We are live. Karen is watching. Good evening to you, Karen. Hope you're well. Will is here. Maz is here. Matt is here. Jack is here as well. Get your comments in. We want to know what you thought to yesterday. Craig says it was a good finish to the season. Do you agree with Craig? I think, listen, it has been a bit of a decent finish. It's done us well, hasn't it? Those last 3 or 4 games. It was a shame about the Everton one, but the Norwich game, the Watford game, and, of course, the Southampton game, a good finish, put us in 8th at the end. What do you feel to that? Donna's watching live, so is Wayne, so is Steve. Good evening to you all, Craig. Big questions, who are we going to sign? Listen, Craig, we are doing live, well, we're doing videos every day on our YouTube channel, so do go and watch the YouTube channel. There's one up there today about Casper and Sanchez. Should we be signing a keeper? So go and watch that video. That is live now on our YouTube channel. Will Robinson says here, finished in our highest place all season, right at the end. Will, makes a change from the last 2 seasons, Will, where we finished lower than we had done all season on the last game. Talking about yesterday's game, let's focus on yesterday's game. Jack says a mediocre first half, but a good finish in the second half. Good evening to you, Andrew. I want to know what you guys felt about that first goal yesterday. Were we unsporting? Let me know your views on that. Mark saying good finish to the season considering the bad luck and the lack of activity in the January transfer window. David says it was a good way to close out the season. Patrick, hope you're well. Patrick says 5th highest goal scorers in the league. Let 6 more goals in than Burnley. Shows you what we need to address. Patrick, it does, doesn't it? Are we going to blame that on the transfer policy? Are we going to blame it on injuries? Fofana, obviously, we looked so much better in there. Wayne, I do want to speak about this. Casper looked like he was waving goodbye at the end. He certainly did. I was in the family stand. He did look like he was waving goodbye because he could have been clapping, but he was waving. And do we read too much into that? The rumours, Richie, yeah, again, go and watch the video that is on our YouTube channel. And there, the lads, Reedy and Sam, are talking all about Nick Pope, Robert Sanchez, about would you take either of them in there. Jack wants to talk a little bit about that. Our first goal, was it unsporting? You don't have to pass it to the opposition. There's no rule on it. I think it's called being a bit of a sportsman. I think they certainly thought they did. And then they thought that we were going to allow them to walk it through, I think. That's certainly what they thought it was. Didn't see it, but it was the rest fault. Can't blame us. It was Moss in charge, wasn't it? And I think it was his final game. So did he make a bit of a boo-boo in his last game? Listen, let's get not Jack in. Let's get Tom is going to join us. So Tom's going to get his views in. Tom, thanks for joining us.
Evening, mate. Evening all.
Yes, Tom. Let's start with that goal yesterday. Leicester's first goal. Let's be honest. If that was the other team, I think we'd be saying that was unsporting.
Oh, of course we would be. Let's be honest about it. The referee is the one who made the debacle. The referee should have given the ball to Southampton. Southampton was in possession of the football at the time when Vardy got clattered around the head by Romeo. It could have been a free kick. Obviously, Vardy gets up, comes to the end of the pitch, and for some reason, Moss rolls the ball to Ndidi, and Ndidi passed it to Casper. At that point, I've got to admit that Casper, from my view, at the far end of the cop, I thought Casper was just going to launch it straight to their goalkeeper. That's all I thought was going to happen. Southampton had the ball, and Casper put his hand up for me. He looks down the line, and he's kicking it. And then next thing you know, Vardy's made a little movement towards their defender, who's panicked, heads the ball up in the air, then tries to head it back to the goalkeeper, makes a bigger mess of it, and Vardy hits the goal and Maddison scores. Now, like you say, Phil, that was against us. I think we'd be sitting here feeling a bit aggrieved tonight. That was the other way around. So, referee made, for me, the biggest mistake of the game was to give the ball back to Leicester. It should have been rolled back to Southampton, and then the game should have continued there. But look, Leicester took the chance. Leicester probably were a little bit naughty. Vardy probably was a little bit naughty by playing on in that situation. But hey, we've had a lot this season to go against us, and if for one time we have, the kick-off, mate, I will say this, though. I don't know what was said on that pitch, but it was 50-50 for me that some of the players thought he was going to walk through because a couple of players moved out the way, and then next minute, I think it was Tillemans or Juby Hall kicked the ball off the Southampton player's foot, and the Southampton players started waving their hand around. Was like, what's going on? We thought we were getting a goal back, but obviously we didn't give it.
There were some weird things in there. I think normally when you're going to pass it back to them, they roll it to the team who's going to pass it back nowadays. I want the fans' comments to say if they thought Ross says played to the whistle, simple as. I know, I hear that. John Moss with his retirement shirt. Yeah, I've seen that photo as well. Will says, does it really matter? It's just the last game of the season. It doesn't really, Will, but we're doing a review of yesterday's game. And for me, at 0-0, at that point, Tom, it was a turning point because Southampton would argue, and I saw their manager's comments on Match of the Day 2 last night, they were certainly in it at that point, and a 4-1 almost didn't reflect the score. So I think, Will, it did matter yesterday, and I think it was a bit of a mistake. But John Moss at the centre of it, Tom.
Oh, John Moss is going to take the blame for it, mate, massively. John Moss got it completely wrong. Completely wrong. Any referee would have given the ball back to Southampton. That's the rule now. If the game stopped, you roll it back to the team that had the ball and they continue from wherever they are on the pitch. Now, John Moss should have gone to the halfway line, dropped the ball and kicked it to Southampton. Play on, boys. That's it. Done. Why he thought he had to give the ball back to Leicester, the old rules were you had to give it back to the opposition team who then kicked it in. The new rules clearly state the referee, if you have the play and the referee stops for an injury, the rules state the game will be restarted by the referee passing the ball back to the team who had the ball. So John Moss's fault for me, mate. And people say, oh, what's it matter, last game of the season? Well, to Southampton, it could have been the difference between 3 million and 10 million, if depending on the results yesterday. So you got to look at it that way. If they'd gone on to win the game, they might have finished 4 places up, what's about 10, 12 million pounds in a football club. So it could mean a lot at the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, in the end, Tom, I mean, that sort of leads us on to one of the other topics, which we'll come back to the goals afterwards. But we did end up finishing 8th in the end with that 4-1 win. So it really did matter. It certainly made me feel like when we do a review of the season, which we'll do on Leicester Fan TV later this week or next week, it does make a difference finishing 8th to where we could have finished.
Oh, massively. It gave us the momentum. The first half, I didn't think we played too bad, but we weren't moving the ball around quick enough. We weren't really carving Southampton apart. The second half, there was a different team on the pitch for me. You saw it in the second goal for Vardy. The way we broke on them, we hadn't done that in the first half quick enough. We got the ball, we moved it, we got past players, and you got Vardy in the position he needed to be, and that was to take the ball on the outside of his foot, knock it in front of him, and get in the gap for the second goal. It was all about that first goal. It changed the game. The Southampton players' heads had gone, literally, because I think they were so annoyed about the way it had gone in. You could tell they'd lost it. And then, what can you say? Youri Tillemans with another penalty giveaway this season from diving in the box. Strange decision from Youri once again.
Yeah, indeed. Focusing on the last 2 goals, we'll come on to the second goal in a minute, but the last 2 goals, Perez, Tom, took them very well and came on. And I feel like maybe the last month or 6 weeks or so, Perez has sort of come on and had quite a nice impact, and he certainly did yesterday.
It's from the game in Eindhoven, mate. He turned the game on the head in Eindhoven, and he was one of the reasons Leicester won that game, the way he performed, picking the ball up in sort of the 10 position and moving it around. Yesterday came on a bit wider, but was making the dangerous runs, and what a ball for Maddison, by the way. There's not many players in the Premier League who can play that ball Maddison played for Perez's first goal. And then it's all about movement again. And he saw the ball go wide. First thing thinking, get in the box, getting around that penalty area. As soon as it comes to Tillemans and he lays Ricardo, he does the next best thing. He pulls away. He pulls away from the near post. He pulls himself into the centre of the box and then gets his nice little tap in. Look, Perez for me is a good squad player, but he's another one who's only got 1 year left on his contract. So it's another one. Do you try and get some cashing on him? Do you offer him a new 3-year deal? Or do you let him literally leave next year on a Bosman for free?
It's a trick. Well, obviously, if he goes on a free next summer, it's a £30 million loss, you would say, Tom. And on the other hand, do you want to offer him a new contract at the moment? Tricky, isn't it? Tricky. I just thought he played it. Did he play a little bit more central, Tom? A little bit more like where he used to play for Newcastle yesterday?
I think we've seen the best of Perez when he's played in the central role. Technically, he's probably one of the better players in our team. You know, his touch, his ability to move the ball around players. The problem is he hasn't got the pace to do it on the wing, and that's his lack of anything. His pace, he just hasn't got any pace in him. He can move the ball around players. He's got the tricks and the skills to do it, but in this league, you've got to have a yard of pace to get past someone, and sadly, that's the thing that lets him down. Where he's into the pitch, he can move that little one-touch pass. He got the skills to knock it past someone and then get the shot away, or little 1-2s and get in around the penalty area. So for me, number 10 role for him is probably his best position, and we've seen it when he comes into that role, what he can do, and he's got the goals yet to show it yesterday.
Let's get a few fans' comments in there. Wayne saying he's a number 10 all day long, which is what you were pretty much saying, Tom. Neil is saying Perez all over. One good game in 6 is not what we want. Perez, Andy is saying, Andy Meadow says here, Perez was playing in his ideal position. Reedy says good impact player. Ben Morgan is just saying sell. And Andrew saying Perez has to go. Will has the final comment on Perez here, which he says Perez is a good player, but we should sell him because there is a player there with a year left on his contract. Shame, but it never really worked out for him, Tom. I'm going to move the category now, or what I want to talk about from yesterday on, Tom, to a young man, but he ain't that young anymore. Barnes. What? At times he threatens to be the next best thing in the whole Premier League. He's put a bit of weight on, I think, in a good way. I feel he looks physically strong, and he is quite a tall lad as well. I think he's got a presence about him. I think he carries the ball ever so well at times and gets stuck in. And then there's just times where he a couple of issues with me, Tom. I want to hear your views on Harvey Barnes, and then everybody put your comments in. Shooting is at times poor. At times it's amazing, but a lot of the time it's woeful. And his decision making, Tom, at the critical moments, I worry about that it just doesn't seem to make the right decision enough of the time. What's your take? And then everybody else put your comments in and we'll chat about them. Harvey Barnes.
Yesterday game, some Harvey Barnes receives an up in a hole. There was the good side of him, there was the bad side of him, and there's the side where if he just had a little bit more time and thinks about things, that he would be a well beater in the Premier League. Let's start on the negative side of it, because there is some positives. The negative sides, I think the first half summed it up. There was too many times he comes inside and he got blocked off because he does it every time. He doesn't go down the line. You know, he's got to mix it up a bit. There's too many times he chops inside and you know what he's going to do. We saw it with Damari Gray. That's all he wants to do sometimes. I think the shot in the first half probably hit you in the face, Phil, was that wide and Heinrich Hampson.
Yeah. It came right into the family stand. Honestly, Tom, I kid you not, I spoke to the lads in front of me because I was laughing and berating Barnes because I genuinely think I maybe couldn't have got in that position after a 50-yard run or whatever, but I could have shot. You get slaughtered for that shot on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. And then, obviously, you know, decision-making wasn't the best. The second half, there was points in the game we'd seen like against Norwich. His link-up play with Vardy for Vardy's goal was spot on. You know, to chop the ball past his man, knock it inside, then put Vardy away and score the goal. And then, 10 minutes later, he does the hard work. He beats his man. He's going through on goal. And all he's got to do is chop inside and lay Vardy in. Vardy's calling for it. Vardy, he's got a tap in. He hasn't even got to do anything. He's just got to lay to Vardy. Vardy takes a touch and slams it in the net for me. But no, he tries to go wide of his man on the wrong time. And I think he went down in the box at that point. And the cop wanted a penalty. It was never a penalty. I think he was knackered by that point. He'd run that far. But again, it's those fine margins in the Premier League to be from being a good winger that can cause problems to being a great winger who you're scared of because you can't work out what he's going to do with it. And at the moment, Barnes' decision making is probably what's letting him down, because at that point, I think it was 1-0 when that happened. If he lays Vardy in, there's the second goal, and the game's probably wrapping up a bit quicker. It was, but to be greedy, I think sometimes is the word I use. He just sometimes panics. You see the fear. He doesn't know what to do. And go back 12 months, there was a different Barnes because he was making the correct decisions. He was putting the ball on the plate for Vardy. He wasn't panicking. Maybe he's got a bit cocky, overconfident of his abilities, but he needs to do a Maddison. Go back to the drawing board, like Maddison did at the beginning of the season. Go to Brendan. This ain't working. What do I need to do? Look at the videos when it was working. You were making it hard for defenders to read what you were going to do. You were going inside, outside, inside, outside. You would never know what Barnes was going to do. This time it's so easy because he looks so much time that he's going to go inside. My other concern is how many times we do get the ball wide and we look up and Barnes is on the 18-yard line, in the 18-yard box. There's no width to the game. And you're crying out for Barnes. Why aren't you on the touchline? Start on the touchline, then come inside or go down the line. Problem is, he gets onto the 18-yard line. He's got nowhere to go because there's 2-3 defenders ready for that trap. What he's going to do. So probably decision maker is the biggest thing for him next season for me.
Yeah, I mean, some of the comments coming in, I've been putting on screen, have been really interesting. Wayne says here, Barnes is nowhere near consistent enough. Also, a one-trick pony cutting in on his right foot. I could mark him, says Wayne. Will, though, chucks it back the other way. Now, Will, I'm taking your stats as face value. I've not checked them. But he says joint third most assists this season in the entire league. I don't know if that's in the whole league or if that's just for Leicester. But he said he was also coming back from injury there. Pleased for Madders getting player of the season, says Keith in there. Matty, sticking with the Barnes topic, says, really want Barnes to become that player. He's one of our own, but incredibly frustrating. I think Matty sums it up there. That's exactly how I feel, Tom. Really want Barnes to become that player because he threatens to be that player. And then he sort of goes, oh, dear, wrong choice again, or woeful shot. Just jury's out at the moment, Tom, but I think we all wish him that he is that player, like Matty says.
We've seen him do it, mate. That's the thing about it. We have seen him tear teams apart with his pace and his ability and his skills. But someone put a comment there a minute ago. The link with England set up. It was roughly about the time when he got that one game call-up that it seemed to go to his head a little bit. And we've seen it happen to other football players. This ain't just Barnes. You get that England call-up and suddenly the world's your oyster and you're the next biggest thing. You're getting links like he did with Liverpool and Arsenal, mainly Liverpool, that he was going to get a transfer there in the summer and never materialised. And for me now, like I say, he's got to go back to the drawing board. He's got to go and look at the videos of when he was doing this wing play well, because at the moment he's falling behind a little bit compared to some of the other players in the club, like your Dewsbury Halls and stuff, who are really striding forward. And him as one of our own, we all want it to work, but he's not going forward. He's going backwards in some ways because he's starting to bring him very frustrating to watch. He reminds me of Slup in some ways. Got all the pace and all that, but get into that area. But you know what I mean? There's not a decision. He doesn't decide. Yeah. I'm not saying he's in the same. Slup's a different type, but Slup
still played Premier League. Still plays Premier League.
His man, but he never made the right decision. And you know what I mean? It's like now this is where Barnes has got to go back and sort himself out and start thinking, I've got to make the right decisions, or other players are going to start in front of him.
Yeah, I have thought Jeffrey Schlupp as well. Yesterday, when he smacked that one into literally row CC in the family stand, we nearly caught it. I did think Jeff Schlupp. I remember him doing one exactly the same.
Everton.
Was it? Do you remember the game? Because I remember him doing
Everton
it.
At
it was
home.
On the left-hand side of the pitch, and Jeff Schlupp did it, and I was like, whoa.
Chris Wood had equalised, and Slupper came on, and he went bombing through the middle of the park. He got laid in, and he was in front of the cop, and he he did a rugby shot, drop goaled it over the crossbar from about 18 yards out, and he should have scored that day. We would have beaten him. That was the first game of the season after we'd just been promoted.
Yeah, Michael says here, hopefully he will improve with age and experience, which I agree with you, Michael. And we're here to give people like him a bit longer. Of course we are. We definitely want Barnes around next season. But he's not as young as you think, Michael. I think I'd have to check my stats. I think he's at least 23, Harvey Barnes is now, which in a Premier League world, there's players certainly younger than that now at 23. Tom, just a side issue yesterday, obviously still to do with the match, but the players did the lap of thanks on, or whatever you want to call it, at the end, which was great. A lot of fans stuck around for that, which I thought was brilliant to see that, and it has been a nice little end to the season. Do you find it interesting? What does it tell you? Like, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall got a big song as they were walking round. Certainly did when he walked near L Block and up to the family stand. And yet, as far as I know, I'm trying to think of many songs for Harvey Barnes, even for Madders. It's funny how fans take to certain players like KDH, and looking after yesterday again, I thought he had another decent performance.
I mean, being in the Cop End, Albrighton got his usual, his song sung for a good couple of minutes in front of us and clapped the fans. Dewsbury Hall got his name sung. Wesley Fofana got his name sung. Cags. It is a strange one.
Is there a song? Am I missing it? Is there a song for Harvey Barnes or Maddison?
Oh, it's Barnes. Barnes will tear you apart again, but you didn't really hear it that much at the moment. Maddison's, well, he's got a couple of songs. You've got the Dart song, haven't you? And then you've got his full 90 minutes long sing a song for Maddison. The Cop was singing his name yesterday at one point. Maddison, like the Gallagher days. He has got a song. I just think at the moment, the players who are in favour are the ones who are going to get the backing. It was nice to see the ground full for it, mate, because we've seen over the years when you've had a poor season, and, well, I can't really say it's a poor season, but, an end of the season thing where it's not gone where they wanted, the ground's half empty. I thought it was 3/4 full yesterday. It was a lovely touch. And I think the fans appreciated the way we tried yesterday, and we wanted to finish 8th in the league and not just be a damp squid. Where you look 2 weeks ago, Watford's last home game, the players were embarrassed to go out and do a lap on, appreciation because they're relegated. I think there was probably maybe 2,000-3,000 fans left in the ground, and Leicester were probably most of that at the time. So it just shows you, mate, different teams, different things that the fans appreciate in the club. Going back to the point you made about Casper Waver, mate, come on. If you have a look at his Instagram account, read what he puts on there. He's very much looking forward to next season. He's already said big things to come next season. Looking forward to it. Schmeichel will be here next season. I'm putting my hat on the line. I'll eat my hat if he's gone. You'll eat your hat. I'll eat my hat.
So before you do that, Joe's challenged you to sing the Maddison chant about darts.
Can't sing. Are we going to? It's got rude words in it.
All right. You'll have to tell us it off air. Craig's talking about Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, saying will be massive future Leicester captain and England's midfielder in there. Just going to pick you up about Casper there. I would not. When he was in front, this is at yesterday's game, when he was in front of the family stand, there was a lot of waving and not much clapping. And it felt a bit like, and Tom, I listen, I actually think Casper should go and play European football next season. I think he's got 2 or 3. I don't wish him away from the club, but I think he's done fantastic for us. Go and have 2 or 3 seasons still at the top table. I would say to him, that's what I'd be thinking if I was Casper. I've done it all at Leicester. I've won the Premier League. I've won the FA Cup. I've played it in the Champions League. I've played in the Europa League. I've played in the Europa Conference League. I've won the Community Shield. I've got nothing left to prove it. I'm a legend. But I'll go and play 2 or 3 seasons for FC Copenhagen. I'll go and play for, I'm not saying an English club, but a club who would play in Champions League and then maybe end up in the Europa League. Why not?
I wouldn't blame him. I also feel that I'm watching from the ITV documentary when I did it about him, and you saw the commitment to this football club. It's not the commitment to, as in what he's done here. It's a commitment to Top and to Vishai, mate. He's got an affection for them 2 men, mainly for Vishai and for Top, because he feels he needs to. He wants to repay the Top. He wants to repay Vishai for all they've done for him. He wants to put Leicester where they should be. And that's why I think he'll stay, because I think he thinks that we still can get into the Champions League. I still can have some more European nights at Leicester. And look, people can say his decision-making from his distribution can be tough at times. And I saw someone today gave him a 3 out of 10 for his season review. I mean, I couldn't believe when I saw that. How many games this year has that man kept us in? Yes, there's probably 1 or 2 games he's not helped us in it, but 90% of the time, 95% of the time, it's Casper's stopped one of the goals that could have cost the game. But look, if Casper stays, brilliant. If he goes and wants to play European football, as long as it's not in England, then fair play to him. I'd actually hate to see him play in the Premier League next year for some other club, especially if it was like Newcastle or something like that, because just don't want them having a player like Casper.
No, I think most people are saying here, if Casper left, like Ross says, play European football, nobody would blame him. But if he stays, I'll be even more happy if he stays at Leicester. Andy's talking about maybe Iverson would be his replacement. Sure, Sam and Reedy have done a video all about the keeper situation on YouTube. So if you've not had a chance, do go and watch. Matty, they do talk about Nick Pope as well. So the Leicester Fan TV YouTube channel, please go and watch that in there. Tom, listen, thanks. We're about out of time. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to have a big end of season catch up with lots of the Leicester Fan TV crew. So Tom, hopefully you'll join us for that.
Cheers, mate. Definitely. Thanks all.
Brilliant. Thanks. Going to let Tom go. Thanks so much for Tom joining us. Last couple of comments in here. Ben, hope you're well, says, I reckon he'll run his contract down, which I believe expires next year, and then go, talking about Casper. You could be right there. Fee says, exactly, Tom. Casper tried to save Vichai in that crash. And Chris Wright says, I don't think Casper will go anywhere. He's Leicester through and through. Now, listen, guys, before any of you go, I just want to talk to you about we've got a new Leicester shirt to give away for the new kit. I'm going to put this on screen before you're scream and shout. This is not the new shirt, although I actually really like it. I'd be more than happy if that was the shirt for next season. Would you, or would you not? Do you like that? It is a concept shirt that we did, and it was just mostly to stoke you all up. But listen, you can go and win next year's shirt, whatever it looks like, at our YouTube channel. That's all you have to do. We have to thank the guys to Pukka Pies. So if you do want to win the shirt, all you have to do is go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. If you're already one of those many thousands of people who subscribe, you're in it automatically. But if you're watching this on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and you haven't subscribed, please do go over to the YouTube channel and you can win the brand new shirt as soon as it comes out, whatever size you want, whatever it looks like, and it could be yours. Save yourself 60 quid for the new shirt that will probably look exactly like this year's kit, but with a different colour on it. Greg says he's not sure about that shirt. Councillor is saying no thanks. I like the blueprint shirt. And that's a girl shirt, says Keith. Well, there we go. Roll on August the 6th. The season has finished yesterday with that fantastic 4-1 win. Neil says we'll have a lot more to challenge about next season. Remember 2016. I agree with you. I am sad that we've got no European football next year. But listen, you have to always look at the positives. Always look at that glass being half full. No European football means we can focus completely on the league. Maybe have another go in one of the cups, the FA Cup. I fancy the League Cup. I always fancy the League Cup. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV, whatever channel you're on. Thanks as ever to all the sponsors who help. If you've got a business in Leicester and want to get it in front of all Leicester fans, then get in touch with me. Either direct message us or email us at contact@leicesterfantv.com. My name's Phil. Jack will be with you on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Do go and check out that video on our YouTube channel. Reedy and Sam talking all about Nick Pope, Sanchez, Casper, Everson, Danny Ward. Do you agree with who they think should be in goal for us next season at Leicester? My name's Phil, live every Monday at 7:30. I'll see you next Monday. Cheers.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.